Most word processors have a spelling and grammar check program that you can use to review your documents. This does not replace a careful reading of your writing, but it is a good first step in proofreading. This video explains the basics of the spelling and grammar check program in Microsoft Word 2013, but the method is similar in other word processors. Before using the spelling and grammar check program the first time, you may want to customize some features to make it more useful. Begin with a blank document as demonstrated here. Then select File, Options, and Proofing. You may want to turn off the Ignore Words in Uppercase options so you are still spell checking words that are in all capital letters. To turn off something that is turned on, click to put a check mark in the box. If you want something turned on and it isn't, click to put a check mark there. I would also suggest that you change the writing style to grammar and style if it's just grammar only. You may as well get all of your money's worth out of this program. Then you can also select settings to change and customize some of the grammar and style rules. On the top you'll see the required elements. The elements that are chosen here, always for comma, inside for punctuation, and one space between sentences, are standard for grammar for academic writing right now. We used to have 2 spaces. Now, in the effort to save paper, they have changed it to 1. If you would like to change these for any assignments that you do, you can always change them and change them back later on. Under grammar, I leave all of these options turned on. I want my word processor to check for all of those. Under style, I turn most of them on but leave a few turned off. For example, contractions. I don't mind if you use contractions. We're using primarily informal writing here. If you're in a class and you're checking the grammar and style for a very formal writing, make sure you have contractions turned on. I also don't mind a certain amount of passive sentences. If you have instructors who are very particular about that, you can turn that on. I also expect people to use first person when they're writing about themselves, since this is a first person narrative course. So I suggest you leave that turned off. Otherwise, every time you use I or my or me, it's going to underline that word. When you've finished making all of the changes you want, click OK, and then OK again to set your changes. You can spell check and do the grammar check for an entire document or just part of a document. If you only want to check part of a document, highlight that section. For example, in this paragraph, if I just wanted to check this paragraph as part of a larger document, I could simply highlight it. If you don't highlight a section, it will spell check the entire document when you select the spell check program. Begin by clicking on the Review tab and then selecting Spelling and Grammar. You'll notice that a window opens up on the side here with spelling and grammar choices. You can ignore a choice. You can ignore all of them if you know you've used it multiple times and you don't want it to keep stopping. You can add a word if you want to put it in the dictionary. You can make a change just that one time, or you can change it every place you've used it if you know you've used it often and you've misspelled it every time. You'll notice here you can see the word as it expects it should be spelled, and if you click on the sound icon, you can hear the word. There's also a short set of definitions. I'm going to accept this change, so I'm going to say change. I could have said change all. Here I know that I want the IT apostrophe S, so I'm going to say change. This becomes a little bit more difficult when I look at then. I don't know if I want then or than. If I want to look at them, I can sign into my Microsoft account and look it up, or I could look it up in a dictionary online such as Merriam-Webster.com. I actually know that I want than as a comparison, so I'm going to change it. Now it says meself is not a word. I can do it as 2 words, or I can suggest myself. I want myself, and if I spelled it wrong everywhere, I'm going to select Change All here. In this case, I wanted the word writing, and it's the first choice that shows up. But notice it picked other words that might have been close to what I wanted based on how I spelled it. I'm going to select the one I want, which happens to be the first one, and say Change. Now it's looking at the whole sentence, and it's reminding me that I probably want a comma after my introductory phrase, after all. I agree, so I'm going to say Change. Notice here that there's also a short definition of the rule, so you can decide if you want to use it. Now it's telling me that I want the word was. This time I'm just going to argue. I know I'm actually wrong, but I'm going to argue anyway, so I'm going to say ignore. Here I realize I misspelled this word, and I probably misspelled it every place I used it, so I'm going to say Change All. Now it's asking me if I want to capitalize then at the beginning of the sentence, and I realize I should have done that. So I'm going to say Change. And then it's asking me about the word bit, if I want a comma. After a bit, it was a little easier. Well, that's correct. I do want a short pause there, so I'm going to say Change. Now it wants me to check the rest of the document. I don't want to do any of that, so I'm going to say No. You get a short set of readability statistics, which you can look at if you like. When you want it to go away, just click on OK. One last note here is that this word is not the word I wanted. I defiantly recommend it? No. I definitely recommend it. Since it was not caught by the spelling and grammar check, this is just a reminder that you need to do your own check as well. Thanks for listening.